What's going on YouTube? It's Giga here bringing you a best of 3 from Series 10. So this is a really cool team that when I saw, I really wanted to check it out. It was built by Kunal, who made it all the way to top 8 at the Battle Frontier tournament last weekend. So that was a tournament I had participated in. I had uploaded some matches from it earlier using my Zacian team. So it was really cool to see one of the teams that did really well. And Adi, who is another incredible YouTuber and content creator, had uploaded an interview, and like I said, I saw this and I was just like, okay, I gotta use this team. And so the main focus is obviously going to be the Xerneas. We all kind of know what Xerneas does, right? We let it get set up with a geomancy, and then it just kind of goes to town. And so we do have like sort of the main support you do see with Xerneas, where you have things like Incineroar and Rillaboom, which obviously are the two main things in the format. The reason for Woodhammer, as I saw from the interview, is just because of the fact that it helps you deal with Kyogre, right? Because if you're looking at Kyogre with a Serena, you obviously can't go for the Grassy Glide. So having another option with Woodhammer, I think, makes a lot of sense. This is a pretty interesting Incin in my mind due to the fact that it has Taunt over something like Snarl. I know that Incineroar obviously has a lot of different options, and I haven't seen Taunt too much, so I thought that was really cool. The Regieleki, it's Regieleki, it goes fast, it slows things down, it hits really hard, it has a Focus Sash to make it extra annoying. And finally, this is actually something really, really cool, and for people that, obviously when you see Urshifu Rapid Strike, you're like, oh, what's so interesting about it? It doesn't actually really make sense until you see the Pokepaste, where you realize that this is an Adamant Urshifu with no attack investment at all. The investment goes into HP, special defense, and speed, with the idea that with Mystic Water, even with no investment, Surging Strikes is hitting harder than if it was Jolly Max Speed. So that's something really cool and worth noting, and just the extra bulk. Like, people kind of assume, oh, Urshifu is so frail it can't really take any hits, but it actually has a fair amount of bulk on it. So I'm really excited to see what this team can do. The code is obviously included below. We are playing a best of 3, like I said, with KantoClark, who is an incredible content creator. We've talked about him a lot on the channel. His name should be something you've heard before. If you haven't obviously seen his work, I highly recommend it. But yeah, let's just kind of hop right into this best of 3 and see how we can do. Alright, so we are about to hop into our best of 3 with KantoClark. So I'm guessing he's deciding the rules. Yeah, so he's deciding the rules. Neither of us have seen the other person's team. So what I'm thinking is I might use this match more so to try and learn a little bit about what he's bringing, because I know he's very innovative. So it'll be interesting because it's just like I feel like I have to be on my toes with what he has. So let's kind of see. I guess the thing that would scare me the most is like a Ho-Oh. But, yeah, let's see. We are looking at, oh god, okay, Kyogre, Serena, Kang, Mantine, Lando, and Raichu. So this is a great example, right, where Rillaboom comes in handy, right? Because we talked about the fact that the Rillaboom has Woodhammer to help deal with Serena. I like Regieleki, right? It is a little bit tricky because of the fact that there is Raichu, there's a lot of things. I like Urshifu Water as a lead, right? Yeah, I can't really see Volcarona doing much. Or let's try this, right? So Aleki with Rilla, Urshifu, and Xern. I think this gives me the most flexibility, right? Because Rillaboom deals with a lot of things that scare Aleki, particularly it's going to be stuff like that Raichu, because that Raichu makes it so I can't really do much. The thing of interest, though, is Serena, and figuring out what set is it. Because the thing is, right, I can't just go for a Geomancy immediately. I have to worry about setting up properly. So it's going to be really interesting, as we are going to see a Kangaskhan come out, lead. Kangaskhan, Raichu. Okay, so Raichu has Air Balloon. And so I expect it to be a fake out Last Resort Kangaskhan, which means that I have to switch out. Let's scout, right? Let's go for a Protect here, and this is probably just going to be a double fake out turn. I'm going to try and get a fake out onto Raichu, right? What I'm trying to figure out is where the speeds lie, particularly of that Kangaskhan. I want to know where it falls sort of in this fake out battle. And maybe, like, this lead isn't actually super threatening. So we are going to see that's interesting, right? We didn't see a fake out come out from the Raichu, and we know that Kang slower than Rilla. And so, okay, so we have a good amount of attack investment. And what I'm thinking now is we swap out to Xern, and we go for a Grassy Glide onto Raichu, right? Because you're not going to nuzzle. And so what I'm hoping that we can get a knockout, which will put us in a position where Xerneas can kind of come in and get set up. Because the thing that scares Xerneas the most is obviously this Kyogre, but there is the fact that we will be able to boost up, and also Geomancy does boost our special defense. So I guess the big fear is like Last Resort Kangaskhan into the Xerneas slot. But I feel like you want to target Rillaboom, because Rillaboom is what's going to threaten your... what is it called? Your Kyogre the most. As we do see the Grassy Glide come in, does not pick up the knockout, as we are going to see Charm. So we do see Charm as the last resort. Yep, last resort into Xern, almost picking up a knockout. Last resort, almost KO, Xern. So what I want to do now is protect, and let's just go for another Grassy Glide. We will be in the range of picking up the knockout, but I don't now have a good switch in, right? I can't safely bring out something like Regieleki, because I don't want that going down, especially because this Regieleki does have no bulk. We are going to get the protect off. Charm is going to be a little bit tricky in the long run, but figuring out like where we can do damage. And we do have the huge advantage as well that this Kangaskhan is really slow, right? So we can even do something like a Moonblast. We can Moonblast into it. We can go for big attacks. So having the speed control right now is huge. And so let's kind of see what's in the back. We might have to switch out Rillaboom, right? Because, I mean, Urshifu at this point is not a bad option, as we do see a Mantine come out. Mantine, which tells me that you want to go for something like a Wide Guard. Or, no, let's... No, I want to double up. I want to double up into Mantine, because if it is, because my thought process, right, is Mantine has access to Tailwind, and so if we can stop the Tailwind, even if we lose Xerneas, we do have Regieleki, so we get rid of the fear of Wide Guard, as well as the fear of what is it called, of Tailwind. But they got the Tailwind off, which is unfortunate. So. Survive, no investment, what is it called? No investment, Moon Blast. But now we know it's most likely Kyogre in the back. So what we can do is, we do have Regieleki. Regieleki does have to fear the speed boost. So what I'm thinking is, I think we have to play around with some fun switches, right? Because what I want to do is protect. I want to protect Regieleki this turn, and I want to swap out into Urshifu, right? Because Urshifu's in a pretty decent spot where what I would actually really love is for a last resort to go into Rillaboom, right? Because you know you're faster. So if we get the knockout into Rillaboom, we're in really good shape. But then the big fear though is if grassy terrain ends. Okay, so we do see Origin Pulse, which is actually really good to know, because this means that this Kyogre does have 2 spread moves, Origin Pulse, and it's a 3-hit KO on Urshifu. And that's okay, so this is a perfect position, right? Because we are gonna see the Urshifu go down, so we now have a free switch in to Rillaboom, which lets us go for a pretty big hit, right? We have access to Grassy Glide, as well as what is it called? As well as a Electroweb or a Thunderbolt if need be. So I think what we want to do is I want to go for an Electroweb, and I want to fake out the Kangaskhan. I think that that's really risky, but my thought process, right, is obviously Kangaskhan can't protect. So I'm going to do that. I expect Kyogre to go for a protect, right, with the idea that, oh, you soak the Grassy Glide, you last resort into the Rillaboom. So if we get this call right, we're in a really good position. We unfortunately don't see... We do see the Water Spout come out from Kangaskhan, but we do have Focus Sash on the Regieleki. So I think either way, we do end up in a fine position because of the fact that, right, we are going to be able to get the Electroweb off. We do double connect for really big drops, as Kangaskhan is going to take a ton, as is Kyogre, and at this point, we are definitely going to be faster than both of them. And so what we can do is, we do have a really safe Grassy Glide into the Kyogre, as well as a Thunderbolt into the Kangaskhan. And I don't think from this position, Kangaskhan will be able to pick up all the knockouts, given the amount of pressure we have. So we can just go for a Thunderbolt into Kangaskhan, as well as a Grassy Glide into this Kyogre. And I think that should wrap up game number 1. But this Kangaskhan is really scary, and I think we might need to rely on Volcarona a little bit. And what we do have is, right, we're not seeing a lot of spread, and okay, so this was a good protect, and so now we know Origin, Water, Protect, and how much is this Thunderbolt going to do? Not enough for the KO. So that's actually pretty scary, as this is really scary, because right, because you can go for an Origin Pulse. At this point, anything that Kyogre is going to go for is going to pick up the KO. So unfortunately, I think we are going to take the loss in game 1, right? Just because of the fact that this Kangaskhan really overwhelmed us. But, and yeah, we lost Xerneas, I think, way too early. And so what's going to have to happen here is, I think the shift is we want Volcarona over Urshifu, or we could lead with Urshifu, right? No, I like Volcarona as a lead. I expect, was that a Scald? I think that was a Scald. So this Kyogre cannot touch Rillaboom, right? Okay, so that's good to know. I think the change is we want to lead Xerneas with, let's lead Xerneas with Volcarona, right? We didn't see a lot of spread, and so we can really get Volcarona into a good position to sweep. And right, once we get Xerneas to +2, we should be able to sweep pretty effectively. So I like that idea of leading Xerneas Volcarona with Rilla and Alecki. Volca with Rilla, Alecki. And so like I said, we do know what to expect. We also have the really big advantage this game in the fact that I think Volcarona will play a really big role, right? Because of the fact that we do now have Flame Body, so if Kangaskhan wants to try and go for something into us, we have a way of dealing with that. And we know that this Raichu, as we've seen, is very supportive, right? It has Charm, it has Fake Out. Actually, we didn't see Fake Out. We know it has Charm. I'm assuming it has something like Volt Switch. I'm assuming it has Eerie Impulse. So being able to redirect, I think, is really important. And I guess this is one thing that is a little bit tricky, is figuring out this like really passive lead, right? Because of the fact that we since we don't have Dynamax anymore, the fear of double Fake Out means that we have to kind of protect both Pokemon turn 1, which can put us in a really awkward situation. And especially like Kangaskhan having access to Last Resort is really hard, and we can't outspeed it. Actually, okay, so we're gonna see Serena lead. Serena with Raichu. And so Raichu can have Fake Out. So I want to just go for a little bit of scouting. I could just go for a Struggle Bug, right? I do expect the Fake Out to go into Xerneas, right? You obviously want to stop the Moonblast, and then, I mean, not the Moonblast, the Geomancy, and even if I go for something like, what is it called? A Rage Powder, it's going to go after the Fake Out, so this looks like probably the best play. I do want to know what that Serena can do, but what I'm thinking, right, is Volcarona is really bulky, and so I'm hoping that if the Fake Out goes into Xern, we're in really good shape. As very good read to go for it into the Raichu, but we do luckily get the Flame Body, as we are going to see a Power Whip come out from Serena. And so this is still equally scary, right? Because of the fact that Serena can put on a lot of pressure, but I want to just swap out into this Rillaboom and go for an Overheat. Do I think I can live? Yeah, I want to overheat this Serena. I need to get rid of it. I want to have Rillaboom for this endgame and just like not really mess around. And I'm hoping Kangaskhan's not in the back, because Kangaskhan gave me a lot of problems, but getting the burn on Raichu I think puts us in a pretty good spot, right? Because now we are going to get some additional residual chip, which can pay off in the long run as we just try and pick up some knockouts. As we are going to see Raichu switch out, and Mantine is going to come out. So we have Mantine in the back once again, which means Kyogre is the last one. And having Rillaboom is going to be really helpful, right? Because we know some of the damage calc from Rillaboom that we saw last time. We can really try and stop this Mantine from setting up. And I think that is going to play a really big role, as we are going to see Serena switch out as well. So that's not ideal, because now, right, we have Serena switching out and Kyogre coming in. But what I'm thinking is, so that is useless. Mantine is going to switch out. So the question is, I expect Serena to switch in somewhere. The question is where. I want to just go for a straight Wood Hammer into this Kyogre and go for a Protect. I'm going to protect Volcarona, because I'm expecting Mantine. If Mantine switches out to Serena, expecting a Grassy Glide, or it's going to be the Serena. We're going to see Serena swap in, which I think was a very good read, because now it accounts for all of these situations, as you are going to safely be able to set up your Tailwind. And now I don't really have a good answer to you, because now Serena comes in, and I'm assuming because Serena came out, that did good damage. That did really good damage. the question now is what do we do, right? Serena could have triple Axel. And so what I'm thinking is we want to Woodhammer. We Woodhammer the Mantine and go for a Struggle Bug just to try and get some good chip onto Serena. We are going to see the Hurricane come out into Rillaboom, which did way more than I would have liked, and it picks up the Confusion. So that is really bad. And we do see the triple Axel like I thought. Triple Axel with, what is it called? The Power Whip. And because, yeah, unfortunately due to the earlier conditions, we are unfortunately going to not do too much because of the overheat. That's what I'm trying to say. So we can bring out Xerneas, I think, and what... Yeah, I guess, how do we set up the moon? I feel like we have to go for a Geomancy. We have to Geomancy... let's actually look. There are 2 turns of Grassy Terrain, so I want to take advantage of that recovery. So I'm going to go for a Geomancy as well as a Rage Powder, expecting something like... Even if it's a Hurricane, like I want to at least stop one of the sources of damage, right? Because we can Geomancy, then we can protect the subsequent turn to stall out the Tailwind, and then put us in a position where we can do a lot of damage. And especially if we can get out Regieleki, because then we will have the speed advantage. We are going to see Serena withdraw. So this was actually... Oh, because Raichu is still there. I totally forgot about Raichu. We are going to be able to get this Rage Powder off, which is fine. Like, it's probably just going to be Mantine. Yep, we are going to see a Hurricane come out from Mantine. Not going to do... It's a 3-hit KO into Volcarona. Unfortunately, another Confusion. But we are going to be able to get this Geomancy off. I think the obvious play is... I like Protect and switch out into Aleki. But the fear... I think it ends up working out, right? Because I don't expect this Raichu to have Protect. And so what I'm thinking is we can Moonblast and then go for a Thunderbolt. Because now we have a Geomancied Xerneas. I say we go for a Protect as well as... We could double Protect. I want to bring out Regieleki. I think it's a safe time. Just due to the fact that this is a really tricky spot. Regieleki will reset the drop on the what is it called? Onto the Volcarona. So that's actually really big for us. And what we want to do is, the big question is, do we expect Raichu to have Protect? Because that's going to play a really big role. I think we saw Volt Switch. I should have paid better attention. Volt Switch. It has Fake Out. We do see that. As we do see the Scald come out. So that's good to know. Wow, this Mantine is just packing a punch. Scald, Tailwind. So what I'm thinking is we single target Moonblast and we go for a Thunderbolt onto the Mantine because of the fact that if they go for... So we Moonblast here because we're faster, and then we can Thunderbolt into Mantine. And I think this is our only chance, is if this Raichu does not have Protect. Otherwise they can nuzzle us, and it's like a really bad position, right? Because Xerneas is also Geomancied. So we do have +2 speed, +2 special attack, and +2 special defense, as we do see the Wide Guard come out. So this is really good for us. Wide Guard is expected. So Wide Guard. We do pick up the knockout onto Raichu. This means we will be able to, pick up the knockout onto this Mantine, and from here, we are in a position where we should just be able to wrap up, because the two things left in the back are going to be Serena and Kyogre, right? And so we have the huge advantage into those two with both the Moonblast as well as, yeah, Serena's so low, we can go for a Moonblast and a Thunderwave. I mean, not a Thunderwave, a Thunderbolt. And we are going to outspeed because they don't have the Tailwind up. We also do have Volcarona in the back, so I feel really good about this. I don't want to... Yeah, we can Dazzling Gleam as well as go for a Thunderbolt here. Absolute worst case, Volcarona is in a good position to deal with this Serena. I think, yeah. I mean, this is a +2 Xerneas with Fairy Aura. I shouldn't expect Serena to live, but at the same time, like, there are sillier calcs in the game, so let's see. We do connect with the Dazzling Gleam, and yep, we do pick up the knockout onto Serena, and this Thunderbolt will obviously finish off the Kyogre. So, really good set. I'm glad we were able to pull it off this time. I think having Volcarona in the lead and immediately threatening was definitely something that benefited us. And so what I'm thinking now is play with the same rules. How do we adjust for game 3, right? What I want to do is, I do like the same 4. I think that Urshifu obviously isn't doing much. It can't deal with Mantine, it can't deal with Serena. So I do kind of expect more or less the same 4. What was traded? Raichu was brought, Mantine, Kangaskhan. Did I just not see one? Yeah, so, this 4th game, I'm thinking Rillaboom? No. Volcarona is really big deal. A really big deal. So let's do Volxarn. Because the main question right now is, how do we deal with Serena? Volcarona, Xerneas, Rillaboom, Regieleki? Because there's too much water for Incineroar, and Urshifu just doesn't do well. I think we go with the same 4. And yeah, I think the same 4 gives us really the best position to set up. And I think the really good play was to fake out into what is it called? Fake out into my, what is it called? Volcarona turn 1. And so we're going to see Kyogre Mantine. Kyogre with a Mantine. Does Mantine have Swift Swim? I think Mantine has Swift Swim. I always forget Mantine's ability. Mantine, Cerebi. So this, oh god. This was actually a really good adjustment, right? Because I don't think I outspeed the Mantine. Let's see, Mantine has Swift Swim. So I'm going to go for, I think, I want to go for a Protect. And see, this is hard, right? You can either Origin Pulse. I feel like you have to Tailwind. You have to Tailwind Water Spout. I'm going to double... No, this is a bad play. I should have swapped out into Rillaboom. Because now what I'm doing is I'm risking... They can Tailwind this turn and go for a Hurricane safely the next turn. As yeah, we are going to see that come out. And so now what I kind of have to do is I basically have to sacrifice... Yeah, there's no... I think what we do is we Struggle Bug with Volcarona, and we swap out into Rillaboom with the idea that I expect them to Hurricane. I expect them to Hurricane into what is it called? Into the Volcarona slot. And if they go into the Rillaboom slot, I think it's pretty much GG. There's no way we can really come back from that. We're going to see a Scald. So this is big, right? You're scalding into Rillaboom, who is who got the burn, as we are going to see a Water Spout come out, which is going to put Rillaboom really low, which is super, super tricky. But, and we lost Volcarona. I think what we have to do is we have to, because you can just Water Spout and swap out into Serena. I have to try and Geomancy, and I have to go for a Fake Out on the Kyogre. I have to hope you don't switch into Serena, but it's such an easy switch. But you also, like, okay, so this is okay. This is fine, right? Because we are going to be able to get the Geomancy off, which puts us in a really good position, because we will now outspeed the Kyogre, and we have a full HP Xerneas. We know that this team is very special because of the fact that we saw Mantine, we saw Kyogre, and what we can do is we have like a very good source of damage, right? We also have Regieleki. They could have Raichu in the MAC, which is a little bit scary, but at the same time, like, I'm not super worried. I do expect Mantine to go for something like a Wide Guard, but I think because of the fact that we were able to get this off, it's not totally hopeless. We Moonblast into Kyogre, and I'm going to Thunderbolt into Mantine anyway. I think the switch to Raichu is fairly obvious, but I want to get damage on. I need to get this Kyogre as low as possible, with the idea that if it's relying on Origin Pulse, like, we are in a better position, because Origin Pulse is inaccurate. We do have a guaranteed live with the Regieleki due to the Focus Sash, so I think this is pretty okay, right? Because their only source of physical damage that I expect is going to be the Serena, and we can one-shot Serena fairly easily. We are just instead going to see Mantine stay in, go for a Scald, which, why is this doing so much damage? We do pick up the knockout. Oh, what? Kyogre lived? Okay, so Kyogre lived. And we are just going to... Kyogre unfortunately lived at 1, as we are going to see that there is a Focus Sash on this Mantine. So now this is an awkward spot, right? Oh, Tailwind is gone. Okay, this is great. Tailwind is gone. We can now... I want to Moonblast into Mantine because I need Mantine gone, and I want to Thunderbolt into the Kyogre. So this way, So the fear what is... A fear would be a switch Mantine into Raichu. Yeah, if you switch Mantine into Raichu, we get rid of Raichu, but at the same time, Kyogre isn't going to do much. We are going to... Oh, no, this is fine, right? Raichu is going to come out, but Xerneas is faster than Regieleki, so even with this Protect, we're in a good position because of the fact that we now are going to be able to go for this big Moonblast, which should pick up the knockout onto Raichu. Yep, pretty easily. And so now what, right? We just saw the Kyogre go for a Protect, so they don't have a way of protecting this next turn. We do have good damage onto the Mantine, which can no longer at this point set up priority. And if they have Serena in the back, we do have Moonblast as well. There's nothing stopping Regieleki from going for a Thunderbolt into Kyogre. As we do see, yep, Serena is going to come out. I think that is a pretty reasonable play. I want to just go for a Moonblast into Serena, and I could just Dazzling Gleam. No, I want to Moonblast into Serena, and I'm going to go for a Thunderbolt into Kyogre. We know the Focus Sash is on Mantine, so we don't really have to worry about that. I do expect this to pick up the KO, or come very close, Yep, it is going to pick up the KO there. We are going to be able to pick up the KO with Regieleki, and then this Mantine versus both Xerneas and Regieleki is unfortunately going to go down. So I think, like I said, I think the what turned the tide of this game and what really let me come back, because I think I was playing on the back foot pretty much most of this game until I was able to set up the Xerneas. And I think what really let me do that was the turn where I was able to fake out with the Rillaboom onto Kyogre, right? And I think that was what helped me set up, because there was nothing I could do really outside of that. But having the ability to set up Xerneas pulled us forward, and I think if it was a switch into Serena to stop that, and then just going for a Water Spout with Kyogre, like I could not have come back from that because of the fact that I had lost too many resources, and this was really a game of like Battle of the Giants, where Kyogre and Xerneas are obviously dominating the format for very good reason, right? They have these incredibly powerful spread moves. When you can get a Tailwind up under, or like Speed Boost, be it from Geomancy or Tailwind, like they become pretty unstoppable. And like I said, this was playing on the back foot, and the fact that Rillaboom even burned, like it had one job at that point. It was to say, hey, I need to stop Kyogre, because I'm not worried about the damage output from from Mantine, because Mantine was not gonna do a significant amount of damage, especially because there still was grassy terrain. So that really was what kind of saved it for me. But this was an incredible best of 3. I think there were a lot of points where it could have gone either way, and I think while I was able to come out on top on that one, that isn't reflective of how that overall match went. So huge congrats to KantoClark for the best of 3. You can definitely look out for his side of the battle on his channel. I'll make sure to link his channel, and when that video comes up, I'll make sure to include it in the description. But yeah, thanks all for watching. Until next time, I hope all of you are wonderful, and I'll see you then.